Welcome to the Western Conference Finals, ladies and gentlemen. The Edmonton Oilers, they're back in a spot they haven't been since 2022. It's the Oilers versus the Dallas Stars, and that is a playoff rivalry that has more than enough history, and there's a more than enough on the line in this series. Hello and welcome to Pre-Gaming with BORDZY, brought to you by Sherwood Ford the Giant. I'm your host, Aaron Bordato, joined by my pal, Matthew Wozniak today. Tyler and the crew, they're out in Dallas, boots on the ground. Who knows? Maybe we'll get them another couple beer deep outside the American Airlines Arena with a little selfie cam. Joining Oilersnation After Dark later, but I'm joined by Woz. And Woz, I want to rip the Band-Aid off very quick here to start because you, my friend, are taking some heat online today as you are the only one at the Oilersnation office to predict the Dallas Stars to win the Western Conference Final. Woz, I have the Oil in 7. Brett, he's producing behind the scenes. He has the Oil in 6. Rick actually has the Oil in 1, I do believe. Might have been written as a 7, but we're going to go with a 1. And Woz, what do you have written on the board, my friend?
Well, I put the Oilers in, no, not the Oilers, the Stars in 6. It's a psychological tactic for myself because for some reason, I can't fathom the idea of the Oilers back in the Stanley Cup Final. Just something about it. It's like I feel superstitious even predicting them to get that far. I think I did it in 2022 against the Avalanche. We saw how that panned out. So maybe I'm a bad luck charm. I don't know. But it's just kind of one of those things where I want to play the opposite side of the game to see if it actually benefits us. Yeah, I'll be the villain, and if I have to, that means the Oilers go to the Stanley Cup Final.
And that's what I said. In our office, sometimes you always need a heel. It's like wrestling. You know, you need someone to be angry at. If you did actually check on Instagram, we have you in the corner in a little jail cell, while everybody else is a clean sweep for the Edmonton Oilers. But, Woz, we are back downtown at Greta Bar Yag, of course, because at this point, why don't I just live here or get a Murphy bed to drop down? We're back. It's going to be a hell of an evening, and we're turning things up a notch here in round 3. We figure the Edmonton Oilers, we don't make it this far every single year, so we're going to get crazy the more we move along here. We're giving away way more shit. I'm just going to say it plain and simple. Greta gift cards, Greta game cards, Greta merch, ON gift cards as well, I do believe. We're going to have the prepaid shots of Pink Whitney when the Oilers scored their first goal. We have player pucks at each table where if your player scores a goal, you win an entire prize pack courtesy of Nation Gear and Oilers Nation. And the juicy one this evening was we're going to be covering a couple tabs this evening. That's right, people. And I'm pretty sure I get to pick whose tabs we're going to be covering this evening. So I do accept rivalry. I do accept fans. If you wear your pregame with BORDZY shirt, I think you might get some free shit. But Woz, it's going to be a good evening here again. It's what you always get downtown at Greta, my favorite spot to watch a game. You excited to be back here? You basically live here, too.
I basically, especially away games, I just had the greatest water of my life, courtesy of Greta. So they have fine-tasting water if ever you need a refreshment. There's many refreshments here at Greta, the best place in Edmonton.
Best pizza taquitos in the city.
100%,
Brett is agreeing,
100%.
right? What's your favorite thing at Greta?
Oh, there's so many options. I think the birria grilled cheese is the top one. The mac and cheese. Oh, they got
Greta burger.
They got a spicy mac and cheese, don't they?
I had that.
I can't remember the name directly, but
it's called the spicy chicken mac and cheese.
The chicken nuggets are to die for. And the nachos. Don't even get me the start of the nachos.
And nachos are on sale this evening, and they will be for every single game day from here on out. Was they have been for every game day we've already done. $12 Nation nachos, people. But let's get into the hockey talk here because the Oilers, as I mentioned, back in the Western Conference Final since 2022, the first time. And we all remember how that one ended. While it felt competitive in some of those games, it was a 4-0 sweep at the hands of the Colorado Avalanche. Cale Makar was offsides. I will never get over that for as long as I live. Brett agrees with me behind the camera. But we all remember the Avs on their way to winning their first cup in that Nathan MacKinnon era. And I don't know about you, dude, but it felt like back then, us as fans and maybe even the players, I was just happy to be there. At that point, I never thought the Oilers could make it that far. And you go, okay, this is a building block. You have to learn to lose to learn how to win. Well, they lost plenty, I should say, in that series as they were swept. But this year it feels different. Does it not? This is a spot you expect the Edmonton Oilers to be in. Final Four sounds just good to me. We have an incredibly veteran-led team. This is not the first rodeo for the McDry era. You've got maybe Stuart Skinner isn't your most proven goaltender, but I'd argue the lineup in front of him is. So, Woz, let me ask you, this feels different than 2020, correct? 2022. It feels like we need to win this one. As I don't know, 2022. As I said, I was just happy to be there, dude.
Yeah, just to touch on that, funny enough, I was actually in the building for Game 4 where we got swept just because tickets were a little normally cheaper than usual for that game because, we were down 3-0, and I kind of wanted to go to a playoff game. I didn't go to one that year, and of course, the one I go to, we get swept, but it was something unique seeing the conference trophy being awarded in person. Hopefully this time it's the other way around where the Oilers are rounded, lifting it, whatever they want to choose to do with it. Are the vibes different? Definitely. I think like McDavid said, the team is a little bit more mature. They understand they're not going to get ahead of themselves, like he said in his press conference. And I think that's what happened to them in 2022. And also that Colorado Avalanche team was a wagon. And it was the first time the Oilers really got a taste of a little bit of playoff success, defeating the Calgary Flames, the LA Kings. It was the first real run in the McDavid era. And back then, like you said, we're just kind of happy to make it that far. I remember back then in the comment section on social media, Flames fans, especially rival fans, like, Oilers fans are crying. You guys got knocked out by the Avs. I'm like, bro, the majority of Oilers fans were vibing just going that far. There was a good time in the city. The city was electric. It was much better compared to 2023. So, but this time our standards are higher. Maybe for me, the bar is a little low. I just want us to win a game in the conference finals to start off with and then go from there. The bar is still high regardless, and I said this series is going to go to 6. Hopefully in the Oilers' favor.
Nice.
I'm sorry.
Nice little flip there was. I like that. Yeah, I agree as much as, in fact, as you mentioned it there, if the Oilers win one game in this Western Conference final, it will be the furthest they've ever been in the McDry era. You mentioned that series, though. It was closer than you remember when you look at a 4-0. Game 1 was a score of 8-6 for the Colorado Avalanche. Game 2, 4-0 shutout for the Avs. 4-2 in Game 3 and 6-5 in overtime in Game 4. So it was closer, but this Edmonton Oilers team this year is different, damn it, because as my buddy Lance Kane says, it's a cup year, people. People dropping beers, dropping phones, dropping iPads back there. It's already getting crazy, Brett. But this Dallas Stars hockey team they're a wagon. There's no other way to put it. They've been the best in the West all regular season for a reason. They have slayed 2 dragons, as Jay put it earlier today on Oilers Nation. Every day, they obviously beat the former Stanley Cup champs,
true,
Vegas
actually.
Golden Knights, in round 1. Then they take down the Colorado Avalanche in round 2. And, dude, for this season, for the Stars, it's been the depth. They have incredible forward, wing depth, center depth, whatever you want to say. They had 8 players score 20 or more this season. They roll 4 lines consistently. If you know me, I'm a big Sam Steele fan. Shout out to the Strathcona Warriors and the Fulton Vale Firebirds. We went to school together, but he's an enemy for this entire series. Unfortunately for the Stars, and it's big news, they're going to be without Rupe Hintz for at least Game 1 to start the series. That's massive in the lineup. He's one of their more defensive-minded centermen. It makes Matt Duchene, who is not a defensive-minded centerman, to say the least, elevates him in the lineup. But Woz, they have young talent. They have Wyatt Johnson. They have Logan Stankoven, who's come in. He played 26 regular season games. He is tearing it up. He's playing, in that top 6. This Dallas Stars team is a wagon. Let's just talk about the forward group right now. That is a deep-ass unit, Woz.
I know. I was just looking at it. Wyatt Johnson, the best player out of the 2021 draft class so far. Jason Robertson drafted in the second round, I believe. I can't remember. Was it 2016, 2017? Mason Marchman was pretty solid. Matt Duchene, grizzled veteran. Jamie Benn, grizzled veteran. Tyler Seguin. These guys have been around. Joe Pavelski.
Yep. That guy.
Yeah, he's only 1 year older than Derek Ryan, by the way. He's playing in the second line for the Dallas Stars. So this team is just...
VR up?
You probably should. I mean, after listening to Jay's rant, I probably agree with him, by the way. Jay, shout out to you. That was a beautiful. I put Tyler in his place in terms of Derek Ryan love, so thank you for that. But this Dallas Stars team, it's depth. It's well built throughout each line. A lot of people have been asking, I think I've seen some comparisons. Well, the Oilers are going to get rolled because this team is basically like the 2022 Avalanche. I mean, the 2022 Avalanche were a different dragon. They also had 2 generational talents in Nathan McKinnon and Cale Makar. This Dallas Star team, it just has talent oozing throughout each lineup, and it's just well built for different situations throughout a hockey game.
Brett, can you pull up the Dallas Stars lineup? Because I just want to talk about the domino effect that no Rupe Hintz has kind of created, because you see Matt Duchene, he moves up in that lineup. He's now second line center, where we had Brian Ray from Bally Sports Southwest, Dallas Stars broadcast guy, on 2 days ago on Oilers Nation Every Day. And he mentioned the domino effect that having no Rupe Hintz is going to do. It moves Duchene up into a role that he might have to be more defensively responsible. Obviously isn't his game, but he more so mentioned that third line, the key to their depth, for most of the season, it was Tyler Seguin, Mason Marchment, with Matt Duchene in the middle. And Brian's words, not mine. He called Duchene the engine to that line and keeping those guys going. So you break that one up, and it's the domino effect. You then have to switch up several things throughout the lineup. I think more is going to be asked of Wyatt Johnson. He's clearly the first line center on this one. And Woz, I don't know about you, but if I was Connor McDavid or Leon Draisaitl, and you tell me for rounds 1 and 2, I got to deal with Phil Deneau, Anze Kopitar, JT Miller, Elias Lindholm, and round 3, I got to go up one-on-one against Wyatt Johnson, I'd be licking my chops, because he's a very, very good hockey player, but he's a young hockey player, one that doesn't have the physical size, the physical traits maybe to keep up with a Leon Draisaitl. So what do you think about the domino effect that this has created?
Well, Wyatt Johnson's an interesting player because so many Oilers fans are saying, oh, the Oilers could have had him because we drafted Xavier Bourgault, So many players, so many teams could have had Xavier Bourgault, 20 other NHL teams. I know the Boston Bruins fans have been kind of been annoyed because they didn't select him, and the player they selected hasn't even played an NHL game. Hey, at least Xavier Bourgault is right now still he's on the roster technically. If you go to the Oilers website, he is on the roster, so it means something. But Wyatt Johnson, I've enjoyed watching him play with the Dallas Stars. I've kind of kept a close eye on the Stars throughout this playoff run a little bit. This guy can shoot from anywhere. He can get in front of the net. He's got a mixture of I don't know, a little bit of Zach Hyman in this game, a little bit of Leon Draisaitl in terms of shooting the puck. Maybe I'm kind of reaching there, but he's just such a talented forward. And credit to the Dallas Stars for scouting him. Honestly, just to touch on Wyatt Johnson here, maybe it was destiny that he was going to be on the Dallas Stars. A few months ago, apparently in 2018, or when they drafted him, he was a member of Canada's gold medal team at the U18s in Frisco and Plano, Texas. So they had a little bit of a scouting report on him because he was playing in there.
I like that. Maybe we should send more guys down to Texas. Who knows?
Yeah, you never know.
I'd take some Wyatt Johnson on my squad. Absolutely. He's a stud, and I don't want to overly doubt the guy because all he's done so far in these playoffs and all regular season is be that scoring stud. But I do think McDavid, Leon, that's a different animal when you look down the middle of the ice. The goaltending battle, though, was, at least in the playoffs right now, it could not be more lopsided, at least when you look at their playoff numbers. Brett, can you pull up the comparison there? As you look at those bad boys, 209 goals against, 918 save percentage for Ottinger, and a 287, 881 for Stu. And that is a much improved 881 save percentage, I might say. Stu, we all know, we don't need to talk about it anymore. He was brutal in round 2. He was honestly a detriment to the team at points, but he locked it down in games 6 and 7, wasn't overly tested, but you got to like what you've seen from him. One fun fact, the regular season, Ottinger and Stu had twin 905 save percentages, while Stu had a 262 goals against, and Ottinger had a 272. So technically in the regular season, Stu was better, but you just saw those playoff numbers. We all know Otter is a guy who shows up in the playoffs. We remember, I believe it was 2022, round 1, 7 games against the Flames. He had a 954 save percentage and a 1.81 goals against average. The other guy, consistently in the playoffs, is kind of taking a shit in his pants in Stuart Skinner. The good news, it's a new series, and literally all those numbers I just said, they don't actually matter.
No, not really, and hopefully that little Calvin Pickard coming in for games 5 and 6. Hopefully that was a nice reset for Stuart Skinner to kind of mentally just. I was watching a little video, or not to show out the Oilers, put a little video, and Stuart Skinner after Calvin Pickard's performance, and I think it was game 5, he was impressed by Calvin Pickard, and it's nice that they can lean on each other and kind of use each other as motivation. So Stuart Skinner just needs to be above average, not shit the bed, as you said. Just give the Oilers
shit his pants, I believe is what
exactly.
I said.
Look, for example, if we do look at the 22-22 Colorado Avalanche, they didn't necessarily have great goaltending, and they won the cup. I know we know how their roster was built, but it's just saying, especially
similar
in the
to
NHL
how our
today,
roster's built.
It's you don't always need Vezina-like numbers. I know it's nice to see what Jake Ottinger is doing. It's a benefit to the Dallas Stars, but Stuart Skinner, this is gonna be a good test for him, and I'm excited to see how he'll do.
Yep, absolutely. Let me know in the chat. 1 out of 10. Where's your confidence level in Stuart Skinner right now? Woz, you go first. Where are you at?
I'll go with like a 6.5.
I'm gonna say 6.9. Nice. We'll go with that.
I like
Brett,
that.
I know you like that one, but Woz, how old are you? What year are you born?
I was born in 96.
So you're 96. Okay, so I'm 95. I was a little confused by Yaremchuk and Tyler, and we discussed the playoff history and rivalry with the Dallas Stars, and both of them said they don't really remember it and they don't have horrible memories. All I have is horrible memories when it comes to the Dallas Stars. I don't know if maybe I watch more Don Cherry Rock'em Sock'ems than the average guy, but this will be the first playoff series between the two since 2023, where back then the Oilers played the Stars 6 out of 7 years. Fierce rivalry. I think that's an understatement of back then. It was David versus Goliath, it felt like back then. There was no salary cap there, so Dallas always top of the NHL, Oilers down there in the bottom. And then you remember, you had to play the same team over and over. So here's a little history lesson, because reading through this again, I went, oh my God, this isn't even considered the decade of darkness. 1997, though, when it started, saw the Oilers win it in 7 games off a legendary Todd Marchand overtime breakaway winner. That's going to be a trivia question later tonight. Could get your bill covered. Come on down. I already gave you the answer. 1998, they lost 4-1 in round 2. 99, they got swept 4-0 in round 1. The Stars eventually would win the Stanley Cup that season. 2000, 4-1 round 1 loss. 2001, 4-2 round 1 loss. 2003 was, you guessed it, a round 1 4-2 loss. I was a young lad back then, but I still have horrible, horrible memories of Darian Hatcher, Mike Modano, your Bill Guerins, Eddie the Eagle, Belfour. I want a Stanley Cup final berth for the Edmonton Oilers' sake. Sure, yes, I love the team. This is my city. But I don't want to see the Dallas Stars in the Cup final almost as much. Where's your hatred level for the Stars?
Honestly, it's not that high.
I don't get it. How do you guys not remember?
I think I have a lot more respect for the Dallas Stars than anything, just the way their team is built, the way they've drafted and developed players. I can't hate.
Killed his mic.
I'm sorry. Maybe I'm a double agent. Who knows? And it was funny as you were talking about looking back at the previous series. I've been kind of egging on Bag Milk and Rick, saying, "Oh, Bag Milk, oh Rick," because they kind of given these history lessons on Oilersnation Radio. I was texting Bag Milk earlier today and just kind of poking fun about him. He reminds me of Abe from The Simpsons when he's telling all the kids about the Dallas Stars series. I'm like, or Pepperidge Farm, remember the Dallas Stars. So, hey man, this I've only lived through. I've never experienced Dallas Stars heartbreak. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, well, I feel like
I didn't become sorry to cut you off. I didn't become a Oilers fan until like the 06 playoffs.
Okay, so that explains
it. For a while, the Carolina Hurricanes were probably my most hated team next to the Calgary Flames.
Yeah, that's fair. Those are definitely the two for me. Yeah. Pete says here in the chat, slap him now. I'll do it off camera. Well, we keep it PG on your Mainlander. Tim said, I love this. It was a rivalry in the same way a nail has a rivalry with a hammer. We don't care much about the king when we get past them, and that's how the Stars felt about us. Yeah, Doug Waite, I have PTSD from the 90s. He was on a couple of those teams himself. He also asked, is it busy down there, Brett? Yep, I'm getting yes. Yeah. Oh, shit. Yeah, it is getting, it's weird starting at 6:30 and pre-gaming at 5:30 compared to some of these 8:30 starts we've gotten throughout the playoffs so far, but I am not complaining. Let's now move along. You know what? The playoffs are here. And you know what that means, people? It's time to oil up. I can't wear my shirt tonight because I have worn it 1,000 times here at Greta recently. It needed a wash, but there you see it on your screen. Go check them out at nationgear.ca. Rep your favorite team as they battle for that Stanley Cup. You can shop the exclusive Oil Up playoff merch and more at nationgear.ca. So let's move now to our need-to-know info, courtesy of our friends at Wilhauk Beef Jerky. Only the finest tasting meat products earn that Wilhauk name. Made from 100% pure Alberta beef, their jerky is aged, seasoned, marinated, and smoked to savory perfection. They gladly fill orders of any size. You can find their jerky, sausage, and other products exclusively out of their Leduc, Spruce Grove, and West Edmonton Mall kiosk locations. Okay, So for the Edmonton Oilers, they're going to be without Adam Henrique yet again. Chris Knobloch, though, did say he expects him to return sometime in this series, and he specifically said before Game 3.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to feel good about that one. We knew he was getting closer and closer. You thought maybe you'd see it at the end of round 2. I'll have an interesting question for you a bit about what do you do with the lineup when Rico enters, but that means Corey Perry. He's going to be watching from the press box yet again. The Oilers rocking the same lineup as they did in Game 7. So you got to like that, which means Derek Ryan, he's going to live up in that third line slot. You saw
deservedly
the debate earlier today on Oilers Nation Every Day. If you didn't catch it, it was Ty and Jay just barking back at each other. Jay saying, I believe, loosely quoting here, that Derek Ryan is a better playoff performer than Ryan McLeod. Hard to argue that right now. I know McLeod's good defensively, but he's won next to nothing 5v5 offensively. And he had the game from hell in Game 7. It's only one game. I still want him in the lineup, but is Derek Ryan a better playoff performer than Ryan McLeod was?
In these playoffs, you could argue
I think so right now.
I think Ryan McLeod is
I don't know.
Like sneakily, he's very quiet defensively. I don't know how to put it. He does the little things right that you won't notice on the broadcast. On the broadcast, you will notice goals, hits, assists, all that fun stuff. When it comes to being in the right position, some interceptions, making teams offside, you won't really notice that, but that's what Ryan McLeod does. But with that being said, he does need to start scoring. He does need to hit. What does Derek Ryan do? He can play on the PK effectively. He can toss the body, right? You know, the way I put it in ON Everyday's chat was like, maybe Derek Ryan just wants it more right now. That's the way he's playing. And, you know, Tyler, with the way he was putting it, it seemed like Derek Ryan was a bag of pucks in his eyes. I'm like, you can't just throw Derek Ryan under the bus. He's not that bad. Sure, in the regular season, he was not great. I'll admit that. The legs looked like,
but he has elevated his game in the playoffs.
And then that's the playoffs, and there's nothing wrong with that. You look through the Dallas Stars lineup. How many players do they have over 37? They got Ryan Suter on their third pairing there. So Derek Ryan, he's been playing solid in these playoffs. I think he deserves a goal because I have a thing on my Twitter where there's a granny in a cage, and I'm waiting to let her out until Derek Ryan scores. I don't think that's
Brett's behind the camera going, that's never going to happen. It might happen. The one thing I thought with Tyler's argument is he kept saying that Ryan McLeod's upside is there, and that's why he should stay in the lineup and whatnot. But while I agree, I don't really give a shit about his upside. I care about what you're doing right now, and I would argue Derek Ryan has at least been more consistent. But as I mentioned, Ryan McLeod has been good defensively, 5v5, so he does need a little love in that regard. The Oil and Dallas season series wasn't great for the Oilers, but the Stars won 4-3 back on November 6th. Take what you can with that one. That was Scott Wedgwood goalieing the Edmonton Oilers. I remember that was in the heart of doing Oilersnation After Darks, where I went, what the shit did I sign up for this season? Why did I agree to do this? The Oil won 4-3 in overtime on February 17th with Calvin Pickard in net, but then they got scraped on April 3rd, 5-0 in that one. But again, Calvin Pickard was in net in that one. And tonight, obviously, Stuart Skinner, he's going to get the start. Up and down playoffs, to say the least. Round 1, though, we saw him lock it down. We saw him lose it in round 2, kind of find his game at the conclusion in game 6 and 7. But it's a new series. It's new everything. We've gone through a month of playoff hockey already. Hopefully Stu took some time here to feel good and feel confident about his game.
I hope the whole team did, because as we heard throughout the second round, there was an illness going around the team. I don't think Connor McDavid has been 80%. I think we've been seeing Connor McDavid at 60%.
Tell the people.
I hear apparently Connor McDavid he took part in optional skate today, as per Bob Stauffer, which apparently has not happened all playoffs. Bob was he was doing an interview with Ken Hall, and he saw Connor McDavid walk by him. He's like, "Well, I'm not used to seeing that during the playoffs." So, and supposedly, according to Ron McLean, Connor McDavid was supposedly dealing with laryngitis. I don't know if that's Ron McLean.
Did you hear him talk when he did that interview?
Exactly. So maybe there was something happening there. So. So McDavid, the rest of the team, they were dealing with something, and the hope is that they're just a little bit more healthier, because Jason Gregor at the beginning of round 2 noted in one of his articles that McDavid's had a nagging injury all season, so we'll see if McDavid's a little bit more pep in his step.
Nice. One guy we hope has some pep in his step. We mentioned Ryan McLeod. Some people in here saying, Pete, my 3-year-old hits harder than McLeod. I believe Jay's exact key to victory tonight was he looked at the camera and said, Ryan McLeod needs to play like a fucking man. Was the exact word choice he went with. And hey, hopefully you heard that one. On the Dallas Stars side of things, obviously, as I mentioned, no Rupe Hintz tonight. He sat out the final 2 games of that Avalanche series. He hasn't played since. He has been skating with the team. He's considered day-to-day. He has 2 goals and 6 points in 11 games played so far. On the D side, Yanni Harkenpää is still not practicing. He's missed all 13 playoff games. I believe he missed the last 13 regular season games. It's unclear if he's going to return, but Alex Petrovic, that's Petrovic?
Yeah, I think you got
Petrovic.
that, yeah.
Okay, we're going with that. He's going to stay in the lineup, we do believe. He played 16-25 in Game 6. That was a double OT game, though, so it'll be interesting to see how they roll out those pairings. And the Dallas Special Teams, their power play currently operating at 29.0% after they were 6th in the NHL on the power play in the regular season. But, dude, their penalty kill, you want to pull up the head-to-head numbers there, Brett? Their penalty kill so far in these playoffs, it is only 69.2%. Nice, I know, but that is an area I'm sure head coach Peter DeBoer is saying, holy shit, boys, we got to lock that one down. And was the Edmonton Oilers, we know it. You can call them merchants. You can call them whatever word you want. The power play still exists. The goals still count the same. That is an area I'm looking at under a microscope in this series.
Well, another thing is just to add on, you say power play merchants, yet the Edmonton Oilers have scored the most goals at 5v5, 28 now, albeit they have allowed 26 at 5v5. But where the Dallas Stars kind of excel at 5v5 is the expected goals for at 30.57. They lead the NHL playoffs. The Edmonton Oilers are at 51.85. So around the same range there. So it's very interesting. The special teams will be massive. The Edmonton Oilers have been critical on the PK, I thought, especially in Game 7 there when Ryan McLeod took that penalty. It was a 4-minute power penalty. And the
momentum changer.
It was a masterclass of a penalty kill by the Edmonton Oilers. And who was on that penalty kill? Derek Ryan.
I'm going to need you to yell that at one point by the end of the show, full volume. Then obviously it's Jake Ottinger. He's going to be in the net. Jake the Snake. Yeah. 918 save percentage so far in 13 games played. Let's now move to our Sherwood Ford Giants storyline. And Woz, credit to you, brother. You came up with the episode title tonight, Dancing with the Stars. I also asked you earlier today at the office for a Sherwood Ford Giants storyline, and you had it. It is underdog mentality, baby. The Edmonton Oilers are underdogs in this series for the first time in these playoffs. They're currently plus 105. You know me. I never met a plus sign I didn't like before in my life, so you go smash that one responsibly. 19 plus on Betway. Please play responsibly. But it's a nice change of pace. Should be for the Oilers, too. Obviously, you're going to start the series on the road as well. We'll discuss it more in detail in a bit, but there's also the factor of Dallas has been sitting around for just under a week. Well, the Edmonton Oilers, they played on Monday. They should be ready to roll. We've seen it in the playoffs previously where the Bruins win Game 7 against the Leafs. Boom, they go and stomp the Florida Panthers Game 1. We also saw Dallas in the round 2 series. They went up 3-0 against the Colorado Avalanche after their series went 7 games. They did, however, blow that 3-goal lead. So you got to like that. My storyline tonight is underdog mentality. Live it, breathe it, be a part of it, be those scrappy guys. I think everybody has the Dallas Stars predicted to win this one. Some people not even in 7 games. I like that change of pace for the Oilers, and maybe they can use that and galvanize the group.
Well, the thing is, sure my prediction says Stars in 6. I also believe the Oilers can't beat the Stars in 6 games, 7 games. This Edmonton Oilers team has so much firepower. Evan Bouchard, Connor McDavid. Yes, the Oilers are a little bit top-heavy, and I think if they can get a little bit more depth scoring, that will help them. But I think really key for the Oilers is just being solid defensively like we saw in those last 2 games against Vancouver. I think that's a little bit more important than the scoring, because the scoring will come for the Edmonton Oilers. And as we saw from the Colorado Avalanche, you can score against the Dallas Stars. Yep. The Dallas Stars are just well built through every line, right? They don't really have a weak line. The Oilers, sure, maybe their third line doesn't provide offense. The Oilers have players who can play in different situations. The issue of the Oilers' bottom 6 is that they don't really bring enough offense compared to the top 6, whereas, a guy like Derek Ryan, McLeod, Mark, those guys are good defensively, whereas the offense, it shows up when it decides, I guess.
Absolutely, Woz. Cover your eyes. Sergeant Battle said the Dallas PK might look worse than Woz at the football game.
Yes.
Any words?
No. No.
Back to me, ladies and gentlemen.
I'll
Let's
take
get
my
into
L's.
the Edmonton Oilers lineup report brought to you by Sherwood Ford, the Giant, home of the Giant Advantage and Dealer Raiders Alberta Ford Store of the Year award for customer satisfaction. They've got a giant selection of new and used vehicles. It's the best place to find, finance, and service a Ford vehicle in Edmonton and Sherwood Park. There, you'll find deals and a giant array of services and parts too. Whether you prefer shopping online or in-store, they tailor the shopping experience to you from people who really care. Sherwood Ford, the Giant for a reason. Before we take a look at this lineup, Brett, I want to mention I had to return Frank Saravalli's Mustang to Sherwood Ford the other day. Boy, does that thing rip.
Oh, I bet.
Heavy foot. It purrs like something. But shout out to Frank. $146 speeding ticket down at Sherwood Ford. And the guy asked me, he goes, Bordsy, you want to pay that one? I said, I think Frank can handle that one.
Yeah.
But shout out to Sherwood Ford. They'll hook you up with a rental if you're going to be in Edmonton for the week, like one Frank Saravalli just was. But Brett, let's pull it up. The Edmonton Oilers lineup this evening, as I mentioned, exact same squad, exact same alignment as Game 7 against Canucks. Top line, Nuge, McD, and Hyman. Then it's Dylan Holloway with Leon Draisaitl and Evander Kane. Third line of Warren Fogle, Ryan McLeod, and Derek Ryan. Fourth line, Matthias Janmark, Sam Carrick, and Connor Brown. And on the D-core, the D side of things, you got Ekholm and Bush, you got Nurse and Vinny, and you got Kulak and Cody Ceci. Brett Kulak is getting a lot of love in the Oilers Nation Everyday chat today. Woz, you know me. I have literally a Brett Kulak candy bracelet here on my wrist because he is my absolute dog. But let's talk about the Oilers' top line and specifically Connor McDavid. In that last series, they were held in check for a number of games. I would argue more games than not. He was held off the score sheet or held in check. He does have 21 points in 12 playoff games, so he's obviously still playing well. Take this with a grain of salt. But I mentioned this center depth here for the Dallas Stars isn't the same defensive-minded guys as a JT Miller, as a Philip Deneau, as an Anze Kopitar. As I keep saying, Matt Duchene, I think, in my opinion, is one of the worst defensive-minded centers in the NHL. I mentioned Wyatt Johnson. He's younger, he's smaller, and I don't think nearly has the foot speed of one Connor McDavid. I think he's going to see some easier matchups in this series. Would you agree with that factor? We'll talk about the D-core in just a minute, but forward line matching, I think it's better.
Yeah, I think the Oilers have a little bit more speed. Obviously, a lineup with Matt Duchene and Joe Pavelski, not the fast. I mean, maybe Matt Duchene still has some foot speed on him. He's more of a scorer. He can probably get in the paint a bit there. But the Oilers' top two lines, I mean, Draisaitl, Holloway, Kane has been cooking. Nuge has been stepping up. Hyman. And it's kind of what the Oilers really wanted out of this team last year in the playoffs was that scoring from their top guns like Nugent Hopkins, like Hyman, like Kane. I mean, Nugent Hopkins is a 100-point guy. Where was that in the playoffs? It was non-existent. Credit to the Vegas Golden Knights. We're not going to talk about them. They're on holidays,
that's last year.
Yeah, but the Oilers, it'll be interesting to see how these two top lines clash together.
So the other kind of discussion to this, right, is what D pairing do you expect 97 to get? Obviously, 29 is going to get the other. It's, in my opinion, it's clear as day. It's going to be one gets the Heiskanen and Thomas Harley pair. One's going to get the Esa Lundell and the Chris Tanev pair. I think if it was me, it would be Miro Heiskanen because he is a smooth skater, fast skater. He can keep up with Connor McDavid. He's one of the best young D-men in the NHL. He plays 25-plus minutes a night every night. He's currently tied with Zach Hyman for 11th in playoff scoring. But in 3 regular season games this season, McDavid only had 1 assist. He saw Miro Heiskanen 5v5 for the first 2 games for 13 and 11 minutes a night, each a team high. But in the final meeting, when the Dallas Stars had one Chris Tanev on their team, Heiskanen only saw 540 against McDavid. Chris Tanev played 604 against 97, which was a team high. You think the Stars go smooth skating Heiskanen or tough, gritty playoff Chris Tanev in round 2? It was the Tanev-Lundell pair. I believe Tanev against McKinnon, 5-on-5. 52% of his minutes were against McKinnon, and 57 of Lundell's were against McKinnon. So where do you think they go?
That's tough to say because I can see Tanev's line potentially going up against McDavid simply because also you have to deal with Zach Hyman in front of the net. Yep. He's a little bit pesky. Nuge is really smart with the puck. So it's tough. And also you got Heiskanen's skating
Heiskin and
ability.
Harley trying to deal with Hyman in
Yeah,
front of the
like-
net would be very difficult.
So most likely I can see them going with that Tanev line. In the same breath, though, I don't think we've seen Connor McDavid at the peak of his powers throughout this entire season. I think he's going to be a little hungrier in this matchup because he sees the Stanley Cup. Well, he doesn't want to get too ahead of himself, like you said. But that opportunity to get to the Stanley Cup final is there now for the Oilers, and I think Connor McDavid is just a little bit more hungrier. You know, they've dispatched the first 2 rounds. Now they're in the thick of it. The 4 final teams. Connor McDavid, I think, is going to go to another level in this series.
Speaking of a man who's been at another level all playoffs long, it's Leon Draisaitl. And in that last regular season matchup against the Stars, Leon was centering a line between Adam Henrique and Corey Perry. Tonight, both of those boys are going to be watching from the press box, and he'll be centering a line of Dylan Holloway and Evander Kane. Kaner, he's lived up to playoff performer. He's done everything we know he was capable of. I think you'd agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of been a thing all regular season. You could put up with more of those antics because you know what he's going to do come crunch time. He's very physical. He's hard on the forecheck, scoring threat all over the ice. Never met a shot he doesn't like. But Dylan Holloway, Luke Gazdic said he's having his coming out party right now. He has points in his last 2 games. He's shown the ability to make game-breaking plays like that. Was a Game 6 goal, whatever,
Yes,
the one that
it was.
looked like Connor McDavid. This line is really giving the Oilers secondary scoring and that secondary threat. I mentioned that one of those pairs is going against McDavid. The other one has to worry about 29, and the 2 guys on his line right now are cooking.
Oh, I know, and I mean Dylan Holloway especially. I think I couldn't stop thinking about that Dylan Holloway goal in Game 6, even after Game 7. That goal was incredible. You thought it was Connor McDavid, but it was Dylan Holloway. There was just a lot of deception and creativity on that goal. It looked really easy. It looked like, oh, what are the Canucks defensemen doing? But Dylan Holloway knew what he was doing on there. There was a lot of little things, intricacies that you probably won't notice on the broadcast. I saw a guy on TikTok break it down perfectly. I can't remember, but it's just.
Was it the play when he scored the goal there?
Yes.
It's like along the ice, something like that.
Exactly.
Yes, I watched the same video you did.
I'll have to put it on our Instagram. Evander Kane also just bringing that physicality, crushing players, popping helmets off, things you love to see, finding ways to score at perfect times. Evander Kane, he's a playoff performer. Sure, he's not the 2022 Evander Kane where he would have like nearly 20 points going into that third round against Colorado. But Evander Kane, he's been a presence, and I think that's what Oilers fans have wanted from him. Because, in the regular season, he won 20 games without scoring. There's just all this hoopla. There's arguing with teammates. Funny enough, Leon Draisaitl, Evander Kane, they get along quite well. I think it was Draisaitl or Kane. They posted a comment. They were commenting with each other.
Show the Edmonton Oilers tweet from a minute ago. It's quoting Derek Ryan. He said, 7-4, you look friggin' great.
And funny enough, that's what
guy doesn't curse.
Derek Ryan,
No.
oddly enough, that's how he nicknames his teammates. He calls Dylan Holloway 5'5". And then Dylan Holloway asked him, how is church? Well, I still got to go to work.
Your knowledge of Derek Ryan will never cease to amaze me. Somewhere the Oilers need production, dude, and it's no secret, is depth scoring. If you want to compete with the Dallas Stars and their forward depth, shit or get off the pot time. That Oilers third line is going to need to do something. In 12 playoff games each, Ryan McLeod has 0 points and 10 shots. Doesn't even average a shot a game. Warren Foegele has 1 goal and 1 assist. One of those goals was an empty netter. Corey Perry, who will be watching from the press box, 0 points, 10 games played. And then the man who's now on the line, but you don't expect Derek Ryan for scoring. I believe he has 1 point in 9 games played. Dallas' strength is rolling lines. It is being consistent. Their fourth line is Sam Steele, Craig Smith, Radek Faksa. They can play. They can go up to 15 minutes a night sometimes. And we mentioned it, McLeod off the hop. He hasn't been great. Warren Foegele is a guy that I thought in games 6 and 7 did play more desperate. I said a hungry dog runs faster, and I think he knew he might be a guy who was going to be up in the press box if he continued playing that way. He got a little bit better, but once again, that's a guy who scored 20 goals in the regular season, set career highs, contract year. Foegele, you need to do something 5v5 that obviously applies to Ryan McLeod, but not really your boy DR10, but McLeod and Foegele, they need to do something in this series, Woz.
I 100% agree. As much as I love Ryan McLeod, I love to defend him. He's got to step it up offensively and physically. I don't know why he doesn't like to throw the body around. I think he's
scared. He's not a centerman. In my opinion, he is not a centerman.
Does he feel like he just doesn't have to? It's like, oh, that's not a part of my game. I'm a more of a deceptive whatever guy. But it's the playoffs. You got to throw the body. As we saw in that series against Vancouver, majority of the games before Game 6, Vancouver led the game in hits. I didn't see the stats for Game 7, but I know in Game 6, the Oilers out-hit the Canucks. We won. Game 7, I'd have to double-check, but hitting is a factor in the playoffs. We need it from Ryan McLeod. He needs a goal, an assist. Warren Fogle, on the other hand, man, you scored 20 goals. Please bring it right now. We need you, especially against the Dallas Stars, who are going to be strong on every line. Like this, it's contract year Fogle, as Tyler loves to mention. Where is it in the playoffs? This is you can make a little bit more cha-ching right now.
He was my pick for the Fernando Pisani Award.
A lot of people did.
Boy, oh boy, do I look stupid right now, but we could delete all of that if he has a big series right now. Fourth line, obviously, Sam Carrick. He's going to stay in. I've loved what he's brought. No way you can take him out. He brings that physicality, that forecheck, that energy. That's what the Oilers' fourth line. Maybe they haven't produced to whatever depth scoring, but Janmark had a beauty of a goal, and DR has done some stuff when he's been on the fourth line. They're not the unit that I'm worried about depth scoring. Fourth line brings energy shift to shift every time. They control pace of play in the O-zone. I love what I see from them. We got to move quick here, but you like Sam Carrick in the lineup?
Oh, 100%, Mr. Maple Syrup.
Absolutely. Which one did you like more, the bourbon one or the OG syrup?
I'd go with the bourbon one. So it had a little bit of a kick to it.
Sorry, Mr. Man over here. I like the
Put
original
some hair
one.
on your chest.
I like the smooth one.
That's what Ryan McLeod might need.
Finally, Miro Heiskanen isn't the only elite defenseman in this playoff series, because right now, Evan Bouchard, dude, he's playing the best hockey of his entire life. He had 11 points in 7 games in round 2. He has 20 points overall in 11 games. He has 5 goals in there. 2 of them, I believe, are game winners. Look at that right on your screen. The top 4 in NHL scoring is the Edmonton Oilers in an only 12 games. I'm loving what I'm seeing from Bouch, though, man. The analytics say it. His expected goals for in that series was 62.7. High danger chances, 67.39. But he isn't just getting it done offensively. I've mentioned he's kind of becoming a prick to play against. He's kind of becoming a little arrogant. I said him mocking Connor Garland and calling him too small was awesome. That's something you haven't seen from Evan Bouchard, dare I say, ever. Tends to shy away from contact, but he hasn't in these playoffs. I like that. But my question to you was, I like doing this now between every game, so play along in the chat. Who's the under-the-radar hero for the Edmonton Oilers tonight? So delete that top 6. Give me a bottom 6 guy or a D-man who shows up and is the hero tonight.
Let's go Vincent Desharnais. I mean, come on. I think this guy's due for maybe even a goal.
Give him, Mike.
I think he's been quality throughout the playoffs, especially on wherever he's had to play. That's with Nurse or Kulak. Desharnais has shown up. 7-3. It's time to get to work.
Absolutely. For me, I think it's Darnell Nurse. I think Darnell Nurse is going to score a big goal in this series. I really envision it of him coming up in the rush, being the trailer, 97 or someone drops it back to him. And you know Darnell, he can skate up there. He can shoot the puck. We've seen him do it aplenty in his Oilers tenure. Let's now move to the starting goaltender report, brought to you by Sherwood Power Sports Marine. They are now officially open in the heart of Sherwood Park. They've got service for all makes and models. Bring them your service troubles. You need an inspection. You need a test run. Do you need some trailer tender love and care? Or just a fresh oil change? Bring it down to Sherwood Power Sports Marine. They got you covered. It's almost summertime, so that means it's adventure time, people. Every time I drive past there, I want to buy an e-bike. It's the most.
I want a boat.
Well,
my girlfriend won't let me have a boat.
We might have to start saving, Woz.
I want to go fishing. Let's
pull it up here, Brett. The tail of the tape between the 2 goaltenders. I touched on the numbers earlier, but the thing I want to talk about is Jake Ottinger here. I got some numbers. Also, it's a battle of 25-year-old goaltenders.
This is true.
They're both young. They're both 25 years old. Maybe they're both competing. Jake Ottinger's American, right?
Yeah. I believe so.
Yes.
Yes. In the second round.
Yes,
sure.
I do believe so. But it's no surprise if you followed his career that Ottinger is putting up these numbers, but he did have a down year. Brett, can you pull up his splits between the regular season and the playoffs? There's 2 of them in there, and they're going to look incredibly similar. So there's the regular season numbers, 272, 905. I mentioned Stu at a 905 and a 262, but then he gets to the playoffs here, and he elevates his game, 209 goals against with a 918 save percentage, roughly the same amount of shots against. Brett, wipe that one off. Can you bring up the other one right now? Because if you want a reason to believe that this guy is beatable, look no further than his home playoff numbers this season is a goals against of 296 and an 879 save percentage on less shots when he's on the road. 5-1 with a 118 goals against and a 956 save percentage on 30 shots. Very crazy to look at these and see that his home numbers are considerably worse than his road numbers. Woz, correct me again, where is the game being played tonight?
In Dallas.
You're damn right it is, buddy. Look out, Jake. We're coming for you, buddy. But those are astounding numbers.
They're outstanding numbers. Would you say they are big numbers?
Well, one of them's big. The other one's not
big in
good.
Dallas,
Ooh.
right? So, honestly, if Jake Onger was playing in the Canadian market, you'd be hearing that a lot more about his home numbers. This is something I think the Oilers obviously need to try and take advantage of. However, Jake Onger, you can't underestimate him. I don't think you should ever underestimate any goalie in the NHL playoffs because goalies are voodoo in the playoffs. They could just turn on a switch. Maybe
they're not real people.
No.
Goalies are not real
maybe
people.
Stuart Skinner is. Sorry, Stu, to throw you under the bus. You haven't turned that switch up. Well, you have a couple times. Anyways, I can just see Brett shaking his head back behind. He's going to end me after this. But, I think Jake Onger, hopefully we can just light him up tonight. That would send an absolute message.
I like this one from Darian in here. Oh, shit, my thing's not working. She said, good thing we have 4 games in their building. I love it, Darian.
Yeah.
Also, I'm loving the guys in the chat right now. I got a couple of my buddies, Super Gremlin and Ping Pong Master. That's Dryden. There it is. Yeah, absolutely. You know that. Stuart Skinner, let's believe. We're good with that. We're going to believe. The numbers might not be pretty, but as I mentioned, none of that matters. Just like Jake's numbers there, the thing with the NHL playoffs is you can break down regular season, you can break down playoff. You never know what you're going to get game to game. Let's now move to the Dallas Stars lineup brought to you by Greta Bar. Yeah, I said, people, we're turning things up for round 3. Do you want a free bill? Well, come on down to Greta. Be the most energetic, be the most dressed up. As I said, I get to determine who I think gets their bill burned. So I play favorites. If you get crazy out there, I would love to reward you all kinds of prizes, all kinds of game cards, Greta gift cards, Greta merch, Oilersnation merch. And as always, Woz, what's the best part about these events? Something they do when the Oilers score first.
A shot of
Pink Whitney, prepaid shots.
There you go.
A Pink Whitney for everybody in the bar. Where else are you going to get that? Brett, let's pull it up. The Dallas Stars projected lineup this evening. Top line of Jason Robertson with Wyatt Johnson and Logan Stankoven. Oh, that is a young ass line right there. Second line, Mason Marchment, Matt Duchene, and Joe Pavelski. That is not a young line, but, not the oldest. Jamie Benn, Tyler Seguin, and Evgeny Dodonov. Then it's Radek Faksa with my boy, Sam Steele. You can chirp every Dallas Star out there. Besides my guy, Sam Steele, he's an absolute beauty with Craig Smith. And then you move to the decor side of things. It's Thomas Harley with Miro Heiskanen, Essa Lindell with Chris Tanev, and Ryan Suter with Alex Petrovich. I just saw Chris Tanev doing an interview with his toothless grin. That guy eats pucks for a living.
Yeah.
Like, that is the definition of playoff performer defenseman, right? It's obviously, it sucks. He's not an Edmonton Oiler. Some people said that it was his choice to pick the Stars over the Oilers.
Yeah, he didn't want to go to Edmonton regardless.
I've heard other things about the Flames didn't want to take on Cody Ceci. Either way, doesn't matter. I digress. He's going to be on the squad tonight. I expect him to bring some energy. And as I mentioned, dude, that guy just eats pucks for a living. He is, dare I say, the perfect playoff defenseman addition to add at the trade deadline.
I'd probably say so. However, there's
fits like a glove.
There's a little common theme throughout these playoffs so far. I can't remember. You might have to. Did the LA Kings have a former Calgary Flame? I don't know, but the Vancouver Canucks did. They had 2, and we beat them. Chris Tanev, former Calgary Flame. Maybe there's a trend going on here. If you have a Calgary Flame, maybe you're going to lose to the Oilers.
I love how much of like a goldfish brain I have because he mentioned that, and now I can't think about anything else. Trying to pull up the LA Kings lineup.
But I'm just saying.
No, we're good. We're good. Oh, wait. Brett's got one here for me. Trevor Lewis,
former Flame.
That's why you're the man, Brett. That's why you're the man behind the scenes producing a way. I mentioned it, Wyatt Johnson and Logan Stankoven, dude. That is the drafting of Jim Nill and the Dallas Stars is absolutely incredible. You can add Thomas Harley to that list. He's now their top pairing stud defenseman. These guys have young life all over the lineup. Johnson, he leads the team currently. Brett, can you pull up the Dallas Stars point leaders? He leads the team with 7 goals. He scored 32 in the regular season. Heiskanen obviously leads them in points from the back, and Jamie Benn's been doing his stuff. Tyler Seguin's doing his stuff. they have young guys, but they have veteran guys, man. They have the perfect mix. Tyler Seguin scored 25 in what? I think it was like 68 games played this season. Mason Marchment, he scored 22. They have the perfect forward mix of young and old. Not
I was
even
thinking that,
old,
actually.
really. I mean,
Yeah.
Joe Pavelski does kind of look old as sin. You mentioned you're older than Derek Ryan. You're younger.
Joe Pavelski's a year older than Derek Ryan.
Old
and
as
then
sin, if you ask
Ryan
me.
Suter is 39 years old.
Yeah,
So-
absolutely. He's there too. So what can you say about that kind of? I think that also has to be a reason why the Stankovens, the Johnsons, some young guys are able to perform in this lineup. Is you're insulated with,
Yeah,
for the most part,
that's actually a good point.
defensively veteran style guys who have good leadership qualities. Doesn't surprise me that Johnson scored that many. And Logan Stankoven, he's up next.
Well, when you mentioned, you have guys like Duchesne, Pavelski, Ben, Sagan. These are guys who have been to Stanley Cup Finals, guys who have won Hart trophies. They have been there. They've done that. They know what to do. And I like how you mentioned Jim Nill and the Dallas Stars scouting.
Yep.
I wouldn't give all the credit to Jim Nill. I would give it to a connection from a Ken Hall connection,
I like
Joe McDonnell. They were Joe McDonnell was an director of amateur scouting in Detroit. He's now the Stars director of amateur scouting, and he joined them in 2013-14. And since then, they've drafted Rupe Hintz, Jason Robertson, Miro Heiskanen, Jake Onger, Wyatt Johnson, Logan Stankoven, Thomas Harley. The list goes on. Majority of these players are not even top 10 picks because of Joe McDonnell's overview of the scouting. He was also a key figure in scouting players like Pavel Datsyuk, Henrik Zetterberg, Nick Lidstrom in Detroit. Joe McDonnell, he's Hall of Famers. Has scouted.
Blank check for that guy. Whatever the hell. Dude, those are some names.
I know. And
Holy
funny enough,
shit.
Jim Nill and Ken Hall on both played for the Medicine Hat Tigers.
So we got the wrong guy. I'm just kidding, Ken. I
No.
love you. I still believe in you, and I hope you enjoy retirement. Let's now move. Time for Bordzy's Bankroll,
Let's go.
baby. It's
Let's
a new
go.
round. It's a new time to win some money, courtesy of our friends at Betway. Because with Betway, you can win a free bet up to $200 if your first bet loses. All you got to do, create a new account, scan the QR code on your screen right now, and redeem your bonus. You place a bet, no minimum amount is required. And if the bet loses, you will get a refund up to $200. You can then use that money to bet on your favorite sports. But this offer is only available outside of Ontario. Brett, you're doing a great job behind the scenes. Don't give me no faces like that. You've earned your suds this evening. So we're going to make a YouTube poll here. I also haven't actually placed any bets this evening, so this is a good reminder.
Go.
First option, Oil money line and 29 to get 1+ point. As I mentioned, the Oilers actually underdogs in this game and the series. It's been a while since I've seen those things look that juiced. Plus 135 for your first option. Your second one is a Bouch power play point, currently at plus 125. I mentioned the Dallas Stars PK numbers. They don't take a ton of penalties because they are a smart veteran-style team, but their PK is currently at 69%. The Oilers, I expect to be able to get at them in that area, and obviously Evan Bouchard is the quarterback of said power play. And then your final one, this one's juicy, and I feel good about it because he feels good about his game right now. Ryan Nugent Hopkins, anytime goal, plus 240 currently on Betway. He's on the top line. He's on that top power play. I like Nuge to be huge again tonight. Woz, which of these three bets do you like?
Let me see here one more time. I like the Nuge anytime goal scorer. He's been cooking.
It's
in
the
these
juiciest.
playoffs, especially the last couple of games. Bouch power play point. I could see that happening, obviously. But anytime I haven't laid down any bets, but I put that just because, it's a superstition. I find every time I do lay a bet, it's the outcome does not happen. But when you make bet, I'm just saying, you have a good record.
I have a record. We'll go with that.
Let's go with
we will
that.
go with that. Lance Kane, still waiting for you to crunch my regular season numbers. So I was right around even. But, yeah, I like that one. Currently in the chat, it's Edmonton money line and Leon 1+ point. The other two. All right, that's a landslide of a vote right there. 64%. Each of the other two is 18. But you know what? We're going to responsibly probably ride with all three of these bad boys. I got to hop on the mic here, get on my MC game, try and get this place a little bit fired up. So we're going to end things a little bit quicker right here. My question to you, my friend, score prediction anytime goal scorer. Let's go.
Anytime goal scorer would be Derek Ryan with a 5-3.
Say it right. Say it right, but pull it away from your mouth.
Derek Ryan. A little close quarters here, so I don't know. I need some space.
That probably would have killed their eardrums.
Yeah,
That was a good call.
Sorry, folks. But I'll go 5-3. Oilers win. Yeah, let's go with that.
Brett, throw yours in the chat for me so I can see them here. People, throw them in the chat as well. For me this evening, I think every game is seriously going to be a one-goal game. I think the margins here are way too slim, and it's going to be a battle every step of the way. I'm going to say 4-3 for the Edmonton Oilers. Even if it goes to overtime, this game ain't starting at 8:30, so I could actually welcome some extra hockey this evening. And for my anytime goal scorer, it's Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. It's 93, the Nuge. He's huge. It was the year of Nuge last year. Well, guess what? It's the postseason of Nuge. I've really, really liked what I've seen from his game lately. Was you got any final messages for the fans?
Only final
Go
message.
Stars, go.
Final message. I see what you did there. Puck drop expected to be 6:40.
Hey, there
Earlier
you go.
than usual.
NHL insider Matthew Wozniak, reporter as well, and just part-time beauty on the side as well.
I know the most random shit.
Yeah, Yeah, no, I'm not even going to get into detail on that one. Let's power through. Shout out to our sponsor, Shirt for the Giants, Sherwood Power Sports and Marine. Greta Bar-Yeg, obviously not too late to come on down. I got a lot of free shit I need to give away. I don't want to bring it home with me. I want you guys to bring it home with you. Betway, 19 plus, please play responsibly. For that, Willowhawk beef jerky as well. Oh, and finally, I forgot yet again. Big shouts out to Boston Pizza. If Greta's too full this evening, you always want maybe a chiller vibe. You know, if you're a little bit older, maybe you don't want to get crazy downtown here at Greta. There's 2 BPs downtown Edmonton, one of the best spots you can ever go. And as it's been mentioned, we got to team up for the win, baby, because there's only one Canadian team left in these Stanley Cup playoffs. Y'all got to come on my side to see how we live. That's right, but there's plenty of room on the bandwagon. We can let someone in right here.
Cheering for Connor McDavid is cheering for the sport of hockey.
Cheering for Connor McDavid is also very fun. So if you just want to have fun for the next month, I'd highly recommend that. I love you, Brett. Great job producing tonight. I do believe for Oilers Nation After Dark. You got me, you got Brett producing, and you got Coombsy live and in the flesh. She's going to be joining me downtown here at Greta. I know. Love a little bit of Coombsy. He's so incredibly smart.
I love
Coombsy
the way he talks.
Yeah, he's so eloquent.
Intelligent.
And we are not.
Well,
so on that note, I'll catch you right here after the game for Oilers Nation After Dark. Good luck out there on the Betway Battlegrounds, everybody. Catch you right after the game. Game 1, Western Conference Final. Let's fucking go.
It's written in the stars.